Good morning, everybody. If it's morning, good evening, good day. Okay, so this is some more sweet confirmation here of the weather showing that Africa was definitely here, and then we have this strip that's been missing since yesterday. I made a video. I didn't upload it, but it's you can see right in the middle, right where this weather's missing, is an important spot. This weather is important. You can see there's a lot of weather that's missing right here in this area. But anyways, check this out. This is weather current. You know that I've had this picture of Africa overlaid here for some time now, probably a few months at least. And the weather, I aligned it here because of a weather pattern that was right here one day. I aligned it there, left it's been here ever since, haven't moved it. And then we had that confirmation with that weather that was here one day that was like a straight line that ran parallel with this area of Africa where the Red Sea would be basically, and that confirmed it as well. And then we have the weather today that I turned on. Actually noticed it last night, but it's still there. You can see how that weather aligns. You can even see details like this little spot here. Check it out. This is how well it's aligned, and you can see that it's really well aligned. And you got this straight line that comes across here. It's pretty nice. I mean, it goes here. Africa is definitely in a proper position in this spot right here. It was definitely part of this supercontinent like this at one time over the top of Africa or Australia, because we know Australia is the newest continent, the youngest continent on the planet, they say. So it had to be the land down under, as I've explained many times, and we can see that they're hiding the weather there. This is not just today. This is like every day they hide this weather here. Maybe not every day, but close enough to every day. Pretty much every day they hide this weather. If there's something to show, some weather there that shows something, they'll hide it. And you just got to ask yourself, why? And I know why. But here we go. This is Africa, and the weather confirming that Africa was definitely here at one time. It was in more places than this. I mean, we can confirm that it's been in many places in many positions, but this is one where it goes with the supercontinent. We could see that over Australia that it was like this. We turn on the borders, and the borders just fit Africa beautifully. These are the borders of Australia fitting Africa. Okay, it comes around and you see the borders fit that line, and then it comes around Lake Victoria. All this here, this was here at one time, and we can see basically the borders right here. See where the Philippines are, and then it's got this corner. It comes this way. That's this right here. Like if I move this up, it'll fit better to the Philippines. You can see the A in Africa right here, this A shape. Okay, and that's the same shape as the A of the Philippines and Indonesia. Same thing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show the supercontinent again. Now that we know that Africa was here, we can see that Africa was here. The weather shows that, right? Weather's showing it right now today, that Africa was here indeed. Definitely. Okay, so we know that. There was something else. I'll just go ahead and go along with this. Okay, so the land down under. Australia is literally the land down under. It's not called the land down under because it's so low. It's low. It would be the land down under would be Antarctica if that was the case, right? Antarctica. If you look at Antarctica without the ice, which we will do right now, Antarctica without the ice, it's the same exact shape as Australia. It has all the same features as Australia. It was built in the same place. They were built in the same location, which means then Antarctica had to be created first and then moved aside or something, was pushed off the hot spot that created it, the pole, like the North Pole or wherever it was at the time. This was the North Pole. This whole thing I'm showing was the North Pole. Okay, so we know Antarctica. I mean, we can see this right here, this area here. It's the same. It's parallel with what you see in Australia there. See that right there, the coast? It would just be, this would be eroded back or whatever, but it's the same. We can see that it's the same outline. It's the same, basically the same continent, same shape. So we know that was part of the supercontinent. It was pushed off before Australia uplifted from the depths below the ocean, or however it happened, But we know that by looking at the red color of Australia, that this was definitely the land down under, because the heavy metals sink to the bottom. They go to the bottom and settle at the bottom. All the heavy stuff, the gold, the iron, all of that stuff. Any of the heavy, metals would sink to the bottom. That's why we know this is the land down under. It has to be the land down under, not for the reasons they say. You have to take things literally sometimes, because that's just the way you have to. I mean, they say one thing and it means another thing. They don't want you to know the thing that it really means, because they want to find the gold. They want to find all the stuff that. I mean, it's the reason why they changed the Bible. Was because they knew that these certain locations where the moon had left gold and all these things on the earth, and they had to change the Bible where they had, with Jesus and everything, where they had to have a man figure take over, because really the Christ is the moon. I know people will frown when I say that, but that's what it is. There may have been some man that they substituted or walked the earth that said he was Christ or whatever, but you can believe what you want. I mean, look, a story that takes place in Africa or wherever they say, spreads around the whole world. I mean, back so long ago, they didn't have email or mail or any kind of communication. So how does that little story from one spot on the earth, one little location in the world, spread worldwide? I mean, how does it touch so many people worldwide? Because they forced it on people worldwide as they colonized everything. They forced people into it. They had their own beliefs to begin with, and they were pretty accurate, and they kind of followed the same lines, because everybody on earth around the whole world seen what happened on the earth. At some point in ancient times, they all seen the same thing, so it's kind of similar, and they just were able to accept it, I guess. Or most of the time, they would be killed for not accepting it. So, and then we have like the witches that actually could not be converted and knew the truth, and they would be hunted, and we know what happened to them. So I find it really difficult to believe that one thing that happened in one place, a little story about some guy that was like so great and so good, spread around the world to where everybody believes it. I mean, it's just impossible for me to believe. And I use logic when I try to think of things, common sense. Common sense tells me, when I see all these images of Jesus and the moon and all the research I've done shows that Christ is the moon. He represents the moon. Just like all of the other goddesses and gods and all that, all pretty much represent the moon. The moon was important, as we can see. It's in our weather every day. It's what created the supercontinent. The lunar south pole, or whatever, all areas of the moon have faced the earth. All the big craters on the moon you see have faced the earth, and we can see that in our weather daily. Daily. Okay, so here we go. That's Antarctica, how it fits in with the supercontinent. We can bring Africa back up. And, it goes... I'm not sure if Africa was over the top or whatever, but we can see the same shapes are in every continent. And then I'll bring up North America, which has the outline. With this weather pattern in North America is showing Australia's pattern outline. So we know that this was created from the same hole, like this. We can look at it and see the outline of Australia there. So we know that North America was created by the same giant volcano that created Antarctica, Australia, and parts of all of Africa. Just this one part of Africa that I'm showing that overlaps Australia is just part of this supercontinent configuration. There are many configurations, but this is one. So we can see that North America, the weather pattern. Okay, and then we turn the weather back on and we see why the strip is missing. We know that it would show something here. Right here in this area, or somewhere close to this area, it would show this big oval shape big round oval shape that I've seen a bunch of times in the weather over many places of the earth. I've showed it in countless videos. This big oval shape, you'll see it here, you know, up here. It's basically right here. You see it right here. You see it in China right here. This oval shape here. You'll see it in the Bay of Bengal. You'll see it over the Rockies. You'll see it up here in the North Pacific, in the ocean. You'll see it in the Atlantic. And right now we're seeing it in the picture I'm sharing with you now. You're seeing it over the eastern United States, where we know, or I've shown, maybe we don't know, but I have shown many overlays of the moon here. There's the falcon pattern of Horus right there, the falcon, which this is the South America Andes over North America. You can see the weather pattern showing the Andes right here. That's what that shows. And this would be the top part of South America, the big round part, over where we see the polar vortex over Canada all the time. Or not all the time. They don't like to show that to us, really, in the weather. They give us a big blue area like this. It would be like all blue, and it just, they like to draw it out in like a, just some kind of, they'd like to draw it for us instead of show us the real thing. But anyways, we see the big oval spot right here. This is a big weather pattern that's here for a reason. It doesn't just, it's not just random. This happens like this often. I've also seen the big oval shape over the Rockies and Yellowstone before. And it's the same oval shape as all the rest you see. They're all the same. It's all these continents were built by this one hot spot that what makes that big round oval shape. That's the hot spot. Wherever it is today, it's probably up here where they have the third pole. They call this area the third pole of the Earth. So I think, and we have the warmest seas are right here, and they say it's because it's along the equator, but it's not only that. Not only that. But anyways, so we have North America being built by the same thing as Australia. And we see they're hiding the weather there. That's just a sign. It just shows you something. When they hide things, look at this. Why would you hide that strip? Because Japan, and this is the deepest place on Earth where it would show something. Why is that the deepest place on Earth? Think about that. Think about it. You have to. If you don't think about that, you're not going to ever understand the Earth or the moon. If you don't think about these things. Look at this big circle. This is the Orient. They call this the Orient. Right? Anything within this circle is basically the Orient. And we know Mare Oriental on the moon. You flip it over and it fits right here. Beautifully. And this is 3,200 miles across right here. Making that crater on the moon 3,200 miles across alone. Just the crater is 3,200 miles across. They say the moon is only 20. There's no way that happens. Some people are trying to say that it projects, the Earth, the moon is projecting the Earth or something. I don't know. That's just, to me, crazy. But, you can see in our weather patterns, people. If you look at the weather patterns, you'll see trails and everything else of the moon. Really. You'll see the Eye of Horus, just like I'm getting ready to show you now. This right here. Okay, right here at the supercontinent again. The Eye of Horus. Let me bring up Africa first, and bring up South America that goes with it. Okay, South America was like this. Not right here next to Africa at this time, but right here at this time, because we see this weather pattern that I'm going to share right now. The Eye of Horus weather pattern shows South America and the Andes right here. It shows this weather is showing South America was here. And you can also see South America here. You see a trail. This is South America here like this. Look. See that? This round area. This is the cobra, by the way, or the falcon. You see the falcon wing? But this configuration, it shows the cobra where it comes out of the corner of the Eye of Horus and loops around, comes up and becomes the cobra. Well, this is South America right here. And this is the Andes right here. But you see a trail coming from here, a solid trail coming from here, and then South America being here, where I'm showing it now. And this is the eye, where they say, look into my eye, it's the source of my oath. Look into my eye, it's the source of this world. Okay, this is the eye, and it is the source of the world. It created these continents. Antarctica, Australia, Africa. It's funny how a lot of them start in America, how they all start with A. That's interesting. Asia, whoa. That's a new one for me. That's a new one. I just thought of that. America, Africa, Asia, Australia, all start with the letter A. That's another one. Okay, and then we turn on the grid. We'll turn on the grid and look where this ends up. Let me just show you here. Turn on the grid. Where are we? At the 33rd parallel. Pretty much is right in the center of this eye. Pretty much in the center of the eye. Close enough. 33rd parallel right there. Which we know 33 is an important number. So that, you know, it brings it together. It took me a long time to get it all like this. But this is right. This weather shows this. And the weather shows Africa to be right here. The weather, this Eye of Horus pattern is actually in the North Pacific when I seen it. You can see there's Alaska, there's Siberia, and you can see that this is into Alaska right here. But that's South America in the weather with the Falcon Wing. And then this is the Eye of Horus, which is a couple of different areas of the moon. It could be Mare Oriental. It could be the Sea of Moscow as well. They all shape it. Because what it seems like is the moon was over this mother hole, this eye. I call it the mother hole basically because all continents and life are coming out of this North Pole volcano hole that creates all the continents right here. Not necessarily right here, but this is probably the North Pole at one time with all the continents surrounding it. Being made from that. And this is like so many storms are shaped like this. This is still on the earth. This shape is on the earth. We can see it in our weather. That's showing that it's still on the earth. This shape. Okay, so anyways, the 33rd parallel, it's pretty interesting how they hide the weather there. They're hiding the weather there today. There it is, being hidden. I think I was trying to get to a certain point and I missed it, but that's all right. I think you get it. North America being there and all that. We can follow the trails of all these continents from where they were here to where they are today. There's definite trails that lead the way, show where they go. South America pattern goes all the way up and around, like I just showed it in the North Pacific up here by Alaska. We can also see this Hawaiian island chain. They say this stuff straight lines don't happen in nature or whatever they say about this. If you watch the Ring of Fire episode of how the Earth was made, they talk this. One of the guys says something like that. But that's right here. This is that same angle in South America. That angle you see here. Same thing. And that same angle right here, this makes the Hawaiian island chain, is also right here with Greenland, right under Greenland, right here. This angle here is the same. Right there. And there's other ones too. I'm not remembering right now, but yeah, I mean, pretty important. I just wanted really to show that weather, how it's confirming Africa there again today. That's important to know, to see, to understand. Because I say it and people just don't believe it when I say it, so I have to confirm and show that whenever I get a chance to, I think. So anyways, supercontinent, all created from all this stuff, all the continents created from the same hole. And all the moon will fit all of these areas. The weather showing the moon all the time. They had to downgrade the weather because of the overlays I was doing. The weather on Google Earth used to be so much better than it is today. Not a ton better. Yeah, it was a lot better, actually. It showed so much. You would not believe the things it showed. They had to downgrade the weather satellite images. They did it like 4 times in the time I was doing these overlays. Plus, they did the smoothing of the Google Earth itself. They smoothed out the Earth. It used to be all pixelated to hide the geologic features that they didn't want you to match up with the moon. They had to hide those with pixels all over the place. I've shared pictures of those. You can look up vintage Google Earth images or whatever, and you'll see pixels in every continent, some really bad. And I mean, they smoothed it over so that you couldn't see the pixels anymore, but they also smoothed over all these geologic features that you can't see until you zoom way in. You got to zoom way in, then you can start to see one feature at a time, which is hard to align with the moon when you can only get it, when you can only see it when you're up close. You know, you can see it when you're far away, but you just don't see the details of it. Now I can't even zoom in and out. Oh, there we go. You know, when you're out here, you need to see it when you're out here like this because you have to you have to see more than one feature aligned. So I'm just saying. The weather shows a lot. Like here's Europe. You see Europe, and I have this other image. Oh, what? I don't know where it is. I've shown it before. It shows in the Indian Ocean. Over here, you see the shape of Europe right here in the Indian Ocean, right about here. So that's kind of cool that we just learned. I just learned that anyway. I never realized that all the continents basically are America, or start with an A. The letter A comes from here. The letter A comes from the alpha. Alpha. And then we got Africa. Africa has the alpha right here. See the alpha? Right here. Here's the A. It's created by the same thing as the shape, whatever shaped the Philippines. You know, those are like probably the latest things to be created by the volcanoes that created all these other areas. But that A is all over in our weather. This A shape with the hurricane, with that typhoon or hurricane up here, the circular spiral in this area, that's all over the earth, this pattern in the weather. All across the Pacific. We see it over North America. We see it right here above South America. We see South America's pattern in the weather over here often. I just did one recently that really, you know, I can't show everything because people don't want to watch long videos anymore, or even most people don't even care about this anyways. They don't understand it or whatever. But the moon has shaped the earth. The moon has been close to the earth. The moon is not small. And that's it. Everybody have a great day. Thank you for watching. I hope you got something out of that anyway. I mean, you can see they're hiding the weather there, people. If I went to the Google moon, I could show you where they're hiding the moon. The part you can see with your own two eyes, the part that faces the earth, they're hiding it. Why would they do that? Think about it. All right.